Last time, on Gaming Through the Ages, I played Pirate Adventure for the Apple II, which was like reading an interactive book. Words came up onto the screen that described my surroundings, and I typed in 2-word sentences to state where I wanted to go, or what I wanted to do next. There was no imagery or pictures, so I had to use my imagination a lot. Will future games continue to be purely text-based, or will there eventually be some pictures to help build the sense of adventure? Keep watching to find out. Welcome to Gaming Through the Ages, the series where we start off in the 1970s and play a game from each year until we reach modern times. Phase 1 was all about consoles, but this time in Phase 2, we're exploring the evolving games and graphics of home computers. This time around, we'll be looking at Flight Simulator 1 for the Apple II. Flight Simulator 1 was actually released multiple times due to slight enhancements and new features added to it over time. We'll be playing the original bare-bones 1979 version, however, that came on a cassette tape for the Apple II, as opposed to the commonly known and more official early 80s version. And before we start, I'd just like to say a thank you to all the Patreons that helped make this series possible. Anyway, let's start. Hey, welcome back, it's Jason here, and to be honest, I'm really confused. So my friend's about to get me to play this game from 1979. Written in 1979. For me, I don't know who's watching this tape, but for me, it's 1978. Now, I asked my friend exactly how this is possible, and he said that he's a time traveller, like H.G. Wells or something. And he said to me that in the future, the year 2017, where he comes from, they record their videos onto these, an SD card. Now, I don't know how you could fit, the tape coils into this, or if this is some type of miniature floppy disk. You get my point. I don't believe him. I don't think it's possible to fit an entire video on this tiny little thing. To me, this honestly looks like a board game piece, and it says 8 GB on it. It's probably some kind of currency, like 8 gold balls or something. But anyway, regardless of what my friend said, we're going to try this game out anyway. That's apparently from 1979. He's going to have to try a lot better than giving me a piece of plastic and telling me that it stores videos if he wants to prove he's from the future. Anyway, here we go. We are apparently sitting in an aeroplane. We currently are not moving, our brakes are enabled, and our altitude is 400 feet. But that's like where the ground level is, apparently. So we can see our little airspeed dial and altitude dial here, and you can see it's almost like a clock, and that minute hand there is pointing to 4, meaning like 400 feet. I'm honestly trying to visualize this world right now. It's definitely not as good as like what a movie looks like. I'm seeing white lines and I'm trying to think, what are these white lines? So apparently we've got to try and throttle. We've got to turn on our throttle a little bit by pressing this. So he's got a little poster up here so I can see these keyboard controllers, and oh my goodness, look at that. I've just pressed a button on the keyboard and you can see that the plane is moving forward. We are actually moving forward right now. Now I'm going to try and turn the plane. Okay, so I'm turning. So I'm basically taxiing right now. I'm trying to find a runway of some description. I can't find a runway at the moment. Like, wait, stop moving that way. Is that in front of me? That looks like it could be a runway. I don't know. Let's just keep moving forward. I've only just pressed the throttle and the plane's moving forward by itself. I'm just controlling the left and right. As you can see, if I go this way or this way lots of times, you can see that little spot there next to that little thing that says right. It almost says that I'm moving. I'm just trying to visualize what is happening here. It's very hard to... Wait a sec. Is this the runway? Or is it go this way? Okay, so this almost looks like a road or a runway, and you can see the line on it. So if I try and center myself on this runway thing, let's try and throttle up a bunch. Oh crud. And push the bottom of the plane up. Come on, raise up. Raise the altitude. More throttle, more throttle. I'm turning this throttle up like crazy now. Yes, okay, we're at about 450 feet now, as you can see. We're at 500 feet. We have throttled up. Can I just up a bit more? Oh crud. So that sound apparently means, wait, throttle down. Go down a bit. So that sound that we just heard just then, that, it says here, if you're climbing at too steep a rate, you'll stall your engine, and that's made by that like ticking sound that we just heard. Okay, so that's what's going on. Now we have to put our landing gear in by pressing U, and oh my goodness, what do you see over there? I don't know about you, but I can see mountains, and apparently I've crashed. Because, okay, I'm back. Let's try and get up a little bit. I'm still trying to work out where I am, but okay. So here we can see some mountains over in the distance. Let's try and raise our plane up a little bit higher. Now, it says here that we can't actually... Oh my gosh. Okay, just pause for a second and think what I'm actually doing here. I'm sitting in front of a computer. I'm not typing commands, I'm pressing buttons to alter speeds and positions of planes, and little white lines are being drawn on the screen to indicate an environment that I'm flying through, and there's even gauges like with altitude and speeds that tell me how fast I'm flying and stuff. It feels like we're about to crash into these mountains, to be honest, so let's just turn this way a bit, away from the mountains. Oh, don't go upside down, crud. I did not want to go upside down. Now we got to try and get ourselves back in a position where we actually know where we're flying. This is very confusing. It's just fully around me. What I'm seeing is blackness and white lines. Like, what this tells me right here is that computers, you shouldn't treat a computer like a movie that is interactive. Because at this exact moment right now, I'm flying around, apparently, and I'm just trying to visualize what's going on, but it is very hard to visualize. Okay, so at this side, there's mountains. Let me just read. So your world is a 6x6 grid, each representing 1 square mile. Mountains line the north edge of the grid. However, these mountains are not solid, and you can fly right through them. Stop going sideways. Go like... I can't get away from these mountains. So we can fly through the mountains, apparently, and nothing bad will happen. 900 feet now. Ooh, don't descend so quickly. Wait, go up a little bit. Trying to visualize what is going on here is impossible. Heading 190. I think that... Let's just fly forward for a bit and just read. So I can see the grid. You see how that's a grid there? That's a 6x6 grid. Okay, so we've got the mountains at the north. Your own airfield and hangar. Why am I coming up to the mountains again? That just doesn't make sense. I'm not turning. As you can see, I'm a line forward. So if I start going this way... Okay, so I'm getting away from the mountains now, and I'm going this way. So let's just try and get ourselves away from these mountains and see something other than these mountains. Okay, don't fly into the blackness. We're now flying out of the grid. We want to stay in the grid, not out of the grid. Okay, stay like that. So to the far west on the other side of the world is the enemy airfield. The airfield is again represented by lines on the ground. Why do we keep flying towards these mountains? We are actually getting pretty high now. We're now at 1,200 feet. There just doesn't really seem to be much to this right now. I mean, yes, this is quite amazing being able to do what I'm doing and fly around with these white lines that represent a grid of some kind of world or something. But I'm flying around and all I keep coming up to is these mountains continuously. I just want to try and find some other part. Wait, let's fly. Let's keep going to this part of the grid. Let's get to this far edge. And then we're going to try and find the runway and land. Because we've taken off. I don't think it was the best ever of takeoffs, but we did take off. Okay, we look like we're about in the center of the grid, because as you can see, the grid kind of stops over there. I'm going to be honest here. There really does not seem to be much going on in this game. I mean, it feels like it's been made more as an experiment. Like, it's amazing. It is pretty incredible, but I guess my level of confusion is blocking out how amazing this really is, because I'm trying to visualize exactly where I am in the world. And it's very hard when your world is just a bunch of white lines and a grid. We're going to fly down. I still can't find this runway, but I'm seeing something over here. I'm trying to work out what this is. See how there's grids, and then in that little grid piece over there, we're seeing... I don't know what we're seeing. I'm trying to work that out. Our airspeed is increasing as we come closer to this. Now this might be an airport down here, so we're just going to lower ourselves down by pointing to the ground. Hopefully we don't crash. We're at 1,700 feet, 1,600 feet. Let's level out here and try to work out... Even though this is quite amazing to look at, I mean, we're flying an aeroplane. How cool is this? And we've got our little grids and stuff. Like, this is more than just a text-based adventure. Crud. crud, I'm going fast. No, don't crash. 400. I crashed. I'm now on the ground. D. Now, stop. Stop. Slower airspeed. Down throttle. We have landed. I don't think we really landed. We landed like in the middle of a field or something. But we have landed now. Brake. And there we go. We have officially taken off in a plane, seen some mountains, and landed in the middle of nowhere. There really isn't really much to go in this world, but it was an experience I'm glad I've had, because I've experienced what it's like in, you know, a white line world to, you know, take off on a plane. I guess the most exciting thing here for me was taking it off on the runway, seeing those white lines, flying up, flying around, seeing those mountains, and then coming back down in the end and landing. When we were playing Pirate Adventure before, we were reading what was happening and we were having to try and visualize our world based on that. Here, a world was drawn. I mean, I like the cockpit of the plane. You can actually, you know, understand how fast you're going and stuff, but the world itself was way too hard to visualize. It's hard to explain. This was more interesting to me than it was fun. I just wish the world was a little bit easier to understand. But at the same time, there we go, we experienced a world composed of white lines that move based on the buttons I'm pressing on the keyboard. That is definitely an interesting experience that I can't wait to tell all my friends about. Anyway, I will see you guys next time when my time traveller friend, as if, gets me to play a game from 1980. I don't know how he's gonna get his hands on that, but he says he can do it. Anyway, see you guys. So where to next from here? Well, apparently we move forward and play a game from 1980. In 1980, 3 new home computers will be released. First of all, we have the ZX80. This will be the first computer available in the UK for less than £100, although its durability and reliability is questionable. Overheating is a huge concern, and those black stripes at the top are purely cosmetic. They aren't actually ventilation slots. Next up, we have the Acorn Atom, which is a cut-down version of the Acorn System 3 without a disk drive, but it will have a keyboard and cassette tape interface. 6 video modes will be available, with resolutions from 64 by 64 in 4 colours up to 256 by 192 in monochrome, which is quite a high resolution by my late 70s standards. Last of all, we also have the new TRS-80 colour computer, which uses a newer Motorola 6809E processor as opposed to the older Zlog Z80 processor. Sadly, due to future availability issues, you won't be able to pick a game for the ZX80 or Atom. Instead, pick a game made in 1980 for the TI 994, Apple II, new TRS-80 colour computer, or Commodore PET. Remember to leave a comment under this video to make your vote, and if you're a Patreon supporter, vote on Patreon to have your vote count as 3 times more. Anyway, I will see you in the next episode of Gaming Through the Ages.